So, Battlefield 1 got another monthly update yesterday. Monthly updates were due to end in June of this year, but DICE snuck in another one for us. Although it doesn't deliver much in the way of content, it does come with a super nice addition for Xbox One X players and a bunch of UI toggles, so you can now pretty much customize the HUD in-game to your heart's content. Before all of that, however, I'm going to let you guys know there are 3 DLCs for Battlefield games being given away for free at the moment. The Apocalypse DLC for Battlefield 1, and the Naval Strike and China Rising DLCs for Battlefield 4. All of those will be free until August 7th. So, if by this time you don't already own those DLCs, head into the store on your platform, that's Xbox One, PS4, or PC, and claim those DLCs now before they go back up in price, and you'll have to pay for them if you want access. Right then, on to the summer patch for Battlefield 1, and we're going to start with that exciting news for players on the Xbox One X. For the longest time, you've all been asking for a patch that enhances Battlefield 1 with 4K and HDR support, and that is finally here for you guys. This summer patch will activate those features within Battlefield 1 if you're playing on the Xbox One X, and that means you'll be on par with your console brethren on the PS4 Pro. I'm unsure why there was such a big delay in getting this sorted for the Xbox One X. I honestly didn't even think DICE was going to do it, it's taken so long, but it's here now and you can enjoy the last couple of months before Battlefield 5 comes out in glorious 4K HDR if you've got the screen to use it. Now on to some of those HUD changes. As you can probably tell from the gameplay in the background, I've been playing around with a lot of these settings and various elements. Things are now much smaller in my HUD than they were before. DICE LA added a bunch of new sliders and toggles into the gameplay settings, which now allow you to burrow down into the HUD and change almost all of the things possible. The minimap sizing, that's been there for a while. Mine's now set at, I think, 140%, but you're now able to resize the squad list next to the minimap. You'll notice that is much, much smaller. You're able to scale the scoring element at the bottom that pops up when you gain XP or you land a kill. That's now scaled down to 50% for me. The game mode info panel at the top in the middle, I've scaled that down as well so it takes up less of the screen, and DICE LA even added compass points around the edge of the minimap as an option as well. You need to head into the settings and enable it, and arguably it really won't be used all that much, but it's a nice HUD element to have there, so I've enabled it anyway. A full list of HUD elements that DICE has now implemented options for are as follows. You have the scoring messages, the kill log messages, the chat log, the game mode info panel, the squad list panel, the vehicle seat layout, the vehicle passenger list panel, the player info panel, and other HUD elements like the weapon reload hints, the commo rows, interactions, warnings, and awards. All of those have new options, so there's plenty of things that you can go in and change now. And on top of that, all of these new size sliders for all of these HUD elements, they come with opacity sliders as well. So if you want to lessen the visibility of, say, the game mode scoring at the top of the screen, you can scale it down to 50% and you'll hardly even notice that it's there anymore. Now, DICE hasn't given us the full ability to completely remove the HUD elements, as the opacity sliders, they stop at 50% as a minimum, but everything looks a whole lot cleaner. And if you spend some time messing around with the settings, you're going to get a really clean look. DICE has also added a set of options specifically for the lens sight in the game. These now allow you to change the colour and opacity of the reticule in the middle of the sight. Lots of players fed back that they'd lose the reticule whilst firing, and it could be mixed in with other colours, so if you want to change that to something that's brighter, I don't know, like bright green or something like that, you can now do it. Another fix that DICE has applied solves an issue that's always irked me. It now makes sure that every damage point you do, whether that be with a primary weapon, a secondary weapon, a gadget, or pretty much whatever, now shows up as a damage point in the HUD, so it comes up with some text saying you did damage. Previously, if whatever you did resulted in less than 0.5 damage, that damage wasn't messaged to you in the scoring panel. So sometimes you'd be firing at planes and you'd get the hit markers, but it would never come up saying you actually did any damage, so you thought you were shooting the plane and not doing any damage at all, when in fact you probably were doing damage. It's just that the UI wasn't telling you that you were, and that was really, really confusing. That happened to me so many times before this update, especially when using an SMG on like a low-flying plane, because the SMGs don't really do that much damage at range. Sometimes you do less than 1 damage and you wouldn't actually get any notification to say that you were. That's now been fixed, finally, nearly 2 years after the launch of the game. I'm glad it's in there, but honestly, I thought that would have been fixed a lot earlier on. Another small but rather huge update DICE has made is that any friendly spotting flares fired by your team now show up on the minimap with their radius, not just your own when you fire one. Now, I could never understand why those weren't visible when the game first launched back in 2016, and honestly, it wasn't a major issue, but it's just something that I noticed, but I never really voiced that it was a concern. But now they are visible, and that tells me if I even need to fire a flare or not to help spot enemies. If there's one already over there and I can see the radius on the minimap, then what's the point in me firing my own flare? I might as well hold back, not fire it, and use it somewhere else where a flare isn't, maybe in the future. 30 seconds down the line, I might need to fire my own flare, and then that helps out everyone else on the team because they can now see my flare on their minimap. I could just never understand why it wasn't there when it first happened, but now it kind of makes sense. But the fact that I can see it on the minimap is really, really nice. It's a nice little quality of life fix for Battlefield 1. DICE has also applied a bunch of balancing fixes to 3 of the 5 shock operations that were added in the June patch, in the hopes that games become smoother and less frustrating. Lupkow Pass, Zeebrugge, and Prix d'Etahuur all got tweaked, so make sure you jump back into those and give them another shot. Here's to hoping DICE has made them more entertaining to play. The Lupkow Pass one as an attacker was really, really frustrating in the first sector, and that is the operation that got most of the changes as far as the patch notes are concerned. So if you played Lupkow and were frustrated being an attacker, go back in, give it another go, and see if you like it this time. And lastly, an update I think we can all celebrate, the M1903 Experimental now has its alternate fire mode in Battlefield 1. That means you can fire standard 30 Alt-6 rounds in bolt action, K-bullets in bolt action, and you can use the Pedersen device to fire smaller rounds in semi-auto, all on the same rifle, which is really, really cool to say. You couldn't do that before, you can do it now. This has been a long time coming, and I think it was actually due to arrive in the June patch, along with the General Liu rifle getting its alternate fire mode as well, but it seems there might have been some issues, and DICE is delivering it now in this July update. Make sure you switch to Scout and give that one a shot. It's definitely different firing 3 different types of bullets from the same rifle. Now, really, after this patch, I'm not sure we should expect anything more to come from DICE into Battlefield 1. We're already a month further on than they said they'd patch the game back in, I think, May, when they said the last update would be next month, which was June. And of course, we have Gamescom right round the corner, and we're expecting to see Battlefield 5 again in all of its glory. And I'd find it hard to believe if the entire DICE studio, including Stockholm and LA, weren't focusing on Battlefield 5 at the moment to make sure it's ready and polished for the launch coming in October. However, this last patch does give us a good run in until the beta and launch of Battlefield 5, which is nice for everybody. And of course, I don't think anyone's really expecting anything major at this point for Battlefield 1. We all knew it was never going to be the focus once Battlefield 5 was announced, so it's just really cool that we get one final patch to tie a few things up. But anyway, let me know what you think of all of these changes down below in the comment section for this summer patch for Battlefield 1. It's not the July patch, it's definitely called the summer patch. Which one's caught your eye? Let me know down below, and we can have a little bit of a conversation about it. But thank you very much for watching today, and until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.